Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Unity Fort Collins on this wonderful Easter Sunday. We are grateful and blessed that you are here with us today, whether you're listening today or at a different time. And before I do anything, I'd like to open up with our vision statement. And that way we all get accustomed to hearing that and resonating with that. Our vision statement is that we are centered in love, inspired by spirit. We awaken, connect, and thrive. And that just gives you a little sense of who we are here at Unity. Everyone is welcome, regardless of where you are on your spiritual path, and that you feel love and connection, support, and inspiration. Because that's what we're all about. We are a large family/community, meaning that we see ourselves as the group that gathers and in the group beyond and beyond. And so we welcome you to be part of what we continue to co-create together. And again, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. We are blessed and grateful for you. So now I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Liz so she can share some fantastical announcements.
Fantastical.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's always fantastical to be here in the presence of divine love. And happy Easter. And to those that are of the Jewish persuasion, I believe this is also the completion of Passover. So many blessings to you all. Announcements are today we have at 11 o'clock our community connection. And I already have heard from a few of you that you might not be attending because you have Easter festivities. Maybe you're going on an Easter egg hunt.
Probably.
I have no idea. But whatever you're doing today, if you have that hour after our service, please join us and we can connect and share whatever is there in our hearts to share with one another. So thank you for that. All of our events here at Unity of Fort Collins are listed on our Unity of Fort Collins website under news and events. We have Heart Talks at 10 a.m. via Zoom on Tuesdays. We have Wednesday night live Facebook meditation from 6 to 6:30. And next Sunday, we will be having our council meeting that we have every month, usually the second Sunday of the month. And it may be moving to the third Sunday of the month, but this time it'll be on April 11th at noon via Zoom. So we'd love for you to join us in the communications of the business and what's happening here and what we're planning and where we're going into. So it's a lot of fun things and we'd love to have you join us. One of the fun things that is happening here is that we're getting ready to paint our entryway and our sanctuary just to lighten and brighten it up. And there's an area called the community room with its a little nook in the back that we're going to paint an accent color, just to have a little bit of contrast from the rest. So we have 4 paint splotches that are up on the wall, and we would love to have your input.
Absolutely.
So Monday through Thursday of this week only, Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. until 12 noon, stop by, take a look, and let Julie, our new office administrative assistant, know the order that you like. And so you'll have a first choice, second choice, third, and fourth, and we'll have them numbered, and then we can find out what the preference is. If by chance you can't make it in during those hours this week, please call the office, leave a message with your name and your phone number, and we will arrange a time for you to come in. It's really important that we have everyone's input that wants to share that with us because we're a community and we want to hear from you. So if that interests you and you'd like to be a part of the figuring out what's the right color for our sanctuary in the back end of it, and you can see the kids section because you will be impressed if you haven't had an opportunity to see the welcoming room, the friendship room, and the sunshine room that have been revamped along with the hallway, and come and see what's been happening as we plan to be reopening hopefully in May. That's our goal. Not sure of the date, so I'm not going to give you one at this moment. So if you're interested in being part of the limited capacity of logistics in reopening, please call and leave your name and your phone number at the office because we're going to need some teams for such a thing. So if you have any interest, please do that. And I think Reverend Divine has something else to say about the painting.
Yes. We're working on a painting crew or team, but we also really need a few people to assist with prep work, moving things out of the way so that there's a clear path for painting, helping mask off with masking tape and such. And that will just make it much more expedient for the painters to come in and do that piece. So if that's something that you feel called to, also let the office know. Julie will be taking your information and I'll reach out to you. And if for any reason you just really feel called to the project, but you don't feel called to the labor, which I can understand completely, and you're willing to contribute in a monetary way for supplies of paint and such, that would be fantastic as well and greatly appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you, Reverend Divine. And now Reverend Divine is going to open with our unity time of prayer.
And now let's take a moment to go inward in prayer. I'm giving great thanks right here and now for the music, the message, and the understanding and in the importance of our connection together, whether we are here in physical form or here in consciousness, we're always here and connected. So I'm just knowing that this Easter Sunday service, even though it looks a little different, will fill our hearts, renew us, inspire us, and remind us of whom we are. Giving great thanks and knowing that this is already done. I am so grateful. Amen. And so it is. And it's also time for us to do the unity blessing. And I'd love for you to say that out loud with me because that adds a lot of energy and raises the vibration. So the words will be put up on the screen, and that way we can all say it together. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world.
Well, it's now my great pleasure to introduce today's guest musician. She's one of my favorites. I know you've never heard me say that before, but she definitely is. Her name is Faith Rivera, and she's been with us back in November via the Zoom. Her bio reads, from the sunny shores of Hawaii, Emmy Award-winning singer-songwriter Faith Rivera opens hearts and transforms lives around the globe through the power of music. Fans say that her inspiring songs are like having your best friend who knows your biggest dreams and your biggest struggles, sing the perfect message to you at the right time. Faith has just released her 11th album called Rise, and her infectious pop music can be heard on shows like Hawaii Five-0, Empire, and ER. Faith says that for her, love is the answer, and music is her way to spread that love one song at a time, one heart at a time. She says that, quote, walking the talk is an ongoing adventure she happily shares with her young son and daughter and her hubby, who happens to be her high school sweetheart. Above all, her biggest high remains creating and sharing music to celebrate the unique spark in everyone. She says she dares the world to be the everyday superstars we are born to be. Now, I want to personally let you know that when I thought about Easter Sunday, immediately Faith Rivera came to my mind. I called her, I let her know that I would love to have her be our guest musician, and she was so happy to do so. I want you to please pay attention to her music. I think her music is a ministry in itself. And the 4 songs that we chose for today's service are both a message and a meditation. So I hope you enjoy the music, the love, and the joy of Faith Rivera as she celebrates who we are together. So let's welcome the beautiful and amazing Faith. Thank you, Faith. Glad you're with us.
where I am. God is where I stand. God is standing strong where I breathe. God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me, where I sing, God is where I dance. Joy lifts my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me. As me, from where I'm down, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. Where I play, God is playing boldly, in and out and through me. As me, oh, 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 yeah, yeah. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, wherever I go, where I pray and take and give and live. God is, life is, joy is, oh, God is.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Easter. My name is Reverend Julie Legg, and I'm here this morning to share the Daily Word with you for this beautiful Easter Sunday morning, April 4th, 2021. My inner spirit sets me free. I express my free and unlimited spirit in this moment. The past cannot bind me. The future does not limit me. As a spiritual being, I am free. As I let go of any thoughts and feelings that have burdened me or pushed me down, my heart is uplifted into a new vista, a higher atmosphere of freedom. I embrace the truth that I have the power within me to determine my experience. With God as my source, I am meant to live freely. No one else can give me my happiness or peace of mind. Just as I wish to express my uniqueness, I allow others their distinctive expressions. As I free others, I generously share the love of God that fills my heart, expands my mind, and frees my soul. And so on this Easter morning, may we all feel the love of God that fills our hearts, expands our minds, and frees our souls. Thank you.
I am a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I'm loved at every turn. I'm kissed by Mother Earth. Yes, I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have a light for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on the tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of God moving through me. Oh, yes, I am a child of this universe. Through my breath, all of life can breathe. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love at every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth, yes. Yes, I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. I am the channel for peace to flow. Oh, I honor all alive. Yes, I'm one with Father Time. To every blade of grass, to every shaking leaf on a tree, to every mountain top, it sings of the glory of God moving through all. Moving is me. Moving as you and you and you. Moving and so.
We are children of the universe. I so love that song. I so love Faith and for her bringing that song to us here at Unity today. So I'm going to begin today's service with a little story. A man was driving along the highway and he saw a rabbit hopping across the road. He swerved to avoid hitting it. However, the rabbit jumped in front of the car, and unfortunately, he hit the rabbit. The driver got out to see how the rabbit was, and to his dismay, the rabbit was deceased. He felt so bad that he began to cry. A woman who was driving down the road saw the man and she pulled over. She got out and asked what was wrong. The man said, "I feel terrible. I accidentally hit this rabbit and killed it." The woman told him not to worry. She walked over to the limp dead rabbit and picked it up. She then went to her car trunk and pulled out a spray can. She sprayed the entire contents of the can onto this rabbit. Miraculously, the rabbit sprang back to life, jumped up, waved its paw at the humans, and hopped down the road. 50 feet away, the rabbit stopped, turned around, and waved again. This happened again and again. The man was totally astonished and blown away. He couldn't figure out what the substance in this spray can could have been. He asked the woman, "What was that?" She turned the can around so he could read it. It said, "Hairspray. Restores life to dead hair. Adds permanent wave." Okay, I couldn't resist. How many times do I get to tell that joke? Yeah, pretty much on Easter. So I hope you enjoyed a little humor as we begin today's service. Now, Easter in itself is a very curious holiday. It's actually a blend of religious and secular, of paganism, Judaism, and Christianity. Some say that the word Easter is derived from Ostore or Astora, which is an ancient Anglo-Saxon goddess. She symbolized the rebirth of the day at dawn and rebirth of the life in spring. The arrival of spring was celebrated all over the world before the religious meaning became associated with Easter. As Christianity grew and spread throughout the world, it was common practice to adopt and modify existing non-Christian festivals and assimilate them into the Christian theology. Because Astarte was the goddess of spring and her symbolism dealt with renewal and rebirth, the Christian belief in the resurrection of Christ fit well with those themes. So Easter, the traditional Christians see it as the I can't even say the word, about the ordeal, trial, and execution of Jesus at Nazareth. And according to Christian dogma, it was the physical resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ to heaven. Easter is usually celebrated as a 1/3 passion play and funeral, and 1/3 and 2/3 of a miracle story. It's the story of the suffering of one good man whose only crime was to carry out a divine assignment to bring light and love and abundant life to the world that was filled with violence and hatred and lots of ignorance. This simple Jewish man was on a mission to bring light where only darkness reigned, and he threatened the status quo, and therefore he was eliminated. Now, for me, growing up, I didn't have any association with Easter. Easter to me was the Easter bunny bringing the Easter baskets and the candy and a few gifts. I don't know what your upbringing was, but that was mine. So I didn't have any reference to Easter other than that. Now, as I've started the New Thought teachings, I've realized that Easter is actually an allegory for rebirth, the passing away of the old and the birth of the new. The death of Jesus is a symbol of the taking off and the sloughing off of the old life and bringing new life into being. Jesus called this place the kingdom of God. This kingdom was never a place in the sky, but a state of consciousness, a state of being that every one of us can learn to inhabit for the rest of our lives. This state of being that Jesus was speaking of when he was the one that he said, don't worry about what you need to eat or what you need to wear. For in the kingdom of God consciousness, and that's the key, it's all about consciousness. It's not a literal story. It's about our evolution from an ego centered, fear based, conditioned way of thinking to the unlimited life that lives within us that we weren't taught. In the kingdom of God, this consciousness is where things are attracted to us easily and naturally, just as a bird or a fish doesn't have to worry about clothes or food. It's just there. Easter is not a mysterious magic show where a man is transformed into a god, but is a template for transformation of our hearts and our minds and our souls. So Easter is known as the resurrection. It's all about the resurrection. So what actually is the resurrection? Well, there was one little boy who had an answer to what the resurrection was. It was a Sunday morning, Easter Sunday morning, and the priest called all the children up to the platform. And he asked them, who can tell me what the resurrection is? One little boy spoke up and he said, I don't know for sure, but if you have one for 4 hours, you have to go to the hospital. Sorry. Again, you were either groaning or laughing or shaking your head, and all of them are fine. Again, I can only share it one day of the year, and so this is it. So now that you've heard this little boy's definition of the resurrection, what does the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, have to say about Easter and the resurrection? Well, Charles states in his book on Lent, which is quite the read, he says, Easter is the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus. Its inner meaning and spiritual significance is the awakening and raising to spiritual consciousness, you'll hear this word again and again, of the I am, that which is the divine in man and woman, which has been dead in its awareness of the truth, and it's been buried in the tomb of materiality and also in fear. Every time we, you and me, rise to the realization of the eternal indwelling life, making that union, that connection, that realization that we are one with the spirit that is breathing us, the resurrection of Jesus actually takes place within us. So it's about rising up from the limited mind. And I spoke of the caterpillar last week, rising up into that which is the butterfly that we all are. It's the rising up from this fear-based, conditioned, limited view of ourselves and who we are. And rising up to realize we are all the divine. We actually have more freedom and love and light within us to share. The resurrection experience happens when we let go, we shed all the old limiting beliefs and start to see ourselves and one another. It's when we be transformed into that being of love and beauty and lightness that we already are. So in order to have a resurrection, you have to have something before that. And yes, that's right. You have to have the crucifixion. So what's the crucifixion? Well, crucifixion actually means crossing out. And Charles Fillmore speaks to this, and he says the word crucifixion means the crossing out in consciousness, there's the word again, of certain errors that have become fixed states of mind. It is the enactment of a master of the final release of the limited fear-based mind in order that the free, unlimited Christ mind that is love and compassion may be expressed in all of its fullness. Now, it's true that any form of evolution, expansion, or growth requires that we first must release the old, that which doesn't serve us. Yet, how many times do we hang on? How many times do you hang on to things, to people, maybe to situations? How about some limiting beliefs that we know in our hearts doesn't serve us any longer, and yet we're hanging on? In fact, I will bet that there are some things that you're hanging on to right now that are not serving your highest and greatest expression of who you are. It could be a belief. And I'm going to invite you now to close your eyes and take a breath and let it go. So, the question to ask yourself, and just be aware of what comes, what rises up. What comes to your mind that's no longer serving you? What comes to your mind that no longer is serving you as perhaps it did in the past? Is there a belief that you're hanging on to that's not serving you about yourself? Is there a belief about someone else or about life that's not serving you? Is there a situation, a person that's no longer serving your highest and greatest expression of who you are? Breathe that in and just be with it. Just notice what you're noticing. And now ask yourself, why am I still hanging on to this? I'm hanging on to this because, is it a fear? So I invite you to go ahead and just be with whatever has shown up, and you can open your eyes and know that we all hang on to things. But here's the thing, if it's hanging me up in life, maybe I need to hang up that thing I've been hanging on to and hang it on the cross. That's a lot of hanging. But, you want to hang out, you want to let it go. And what keeps us from putting anything on the cross, it's summed up in one word: fear. Fear is the thing that blocks us. If we're so attached to something that we can't put it on the cross, you've heard the saying, to set it free, to let it go. And if it's meant to be, it will be. But we live a lot by fear. We're a condition-based society living in fear. So what would it be like if we identify our fears and hang those on to the cross as well? Hang your fears on the cross. Let them dissolve back into the native nothingness. Let them die. And then we need to replace what those fears were with truth. How do we do this? Well, actually, Jesus, who is the greatest teacher, one of the greatest teachers and way shower, actually gives us a blueprint on how to release our fears, how to let go of our limitations of being the caterpillar. Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, who I believe is at Unity of Naples, writes, he says, "It's recorded in the Bible that while dying on the cross, that Jesus said 7 last words. The crucifixion story and these 7 last words, metaphysically interpreted and made relevant for today, offer a brilliant blueprint for transformation, for letting go of the past and transcending or resurrecting, rising up into our next level of expansion and consciousness. So whether you're moving through a major transition in your life, or you're simply feeling spirit within calling you to let go so that you can experience greater life, the story of the crucifixion will guide you on a very clear and loving, perfect path. So we're going to take a look at these 7 statements. And what I'm going to ask you to do, or invite you to do, is to maybe take some notes because this is pretty relevant and it is spiritual practices that we can use. And because there's 7 of them, and I think there's, last I knew there was 7 days of the week, I'm going to invite you to do a specific practice every day of the week. And that starts tomorrow so that you can not get your Easter egg hunts and celebrations and family gatherings interrupted. So starting with Monday, the first word and the statement given by Jesus was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The word for Monday is forgiveness. Now, if you are carrying any regret or any resentment, you can't rise up. We have to release regret and resentments in order to rise up. You can't carry the heaviness of judgment, of anger, of pain. The butterfly can't fly like that. So it's crucial that we begin this 7 spiritual practices with forgiveness, the letting go again. And the truth is that God actually doesn't have any need to forgive, because God is actually pure love and it doesn't judge. In truth, it's you, it's me, it's we who are judging and condemning ourselves. And we're raised in that idea. And Jesus says, judge not. We're not to be judges. We're supposed to be love. And so why does he say, Father, forgive them, if God doesn't need to? Well, Father is actually our higher self. It's not some father in the sky. It's my highest sense of consciousness. See, spirit within me and within you does not see the transgressions. It sees past them and sees the goodness in all beings. It doesn't see the problems. It sees only a divine being in need of love. And so we're calling on our higher sense of consciousness, because the hurt sense of part of me may not be okay to forgive, but my higher self can see past the hurt and the pain and realize the second part is they know not what they do. The truth is, when I make a mistake or someone else makes a mistake, or maybe it's even beyond a mistake, it's a very hurtful situation, seemingly done intentionally, then what's that about? And it's easy to condemn and be hurt and be mad and want to hurt people back. But the higher self, the Father within me, the higher consciousness knows that there's a sense of not knowing who we are. There's an ignorance. And my job is to release that and to realize if we knew who we were, and other people knew who they were as the divine, we would treat each other well. But we don't know that. And so there's fear and there's ignorance. And I love this definition of forgiveness by the A Course in Miracles. Forgiveness is removing a block in our awareness to the experience of love's presence. Again, forgiveness is removing a block in our awareness to the experience of love's presence. So in order to lighten up and do the forgiveness, my suggestion, there's many ways to do forgiveness work, is that I have a statement. I forgive myself for judging whoever for whatever, because the truth is they're a being of divinity. They didn't know what they were doing. I forgive myself for judging myself as being ignorant or making a mistake or doing something that I regret. Because the truth is, I'm a child of the divine, doing the best I know how, and sometimes it's not the greatest. So that's the statement to use. Now we're going to Tuesday. Are you ready? We got to move through this week. This is going to be Tuesday, and I remember it because the word today is in it. And the word for the day for Tuesday is now. The statement Jesus said was, truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Now, Jesus was speaking to the 2 thieves, one on the left, one on the right. And there's ways that you can look at what those signify, but the unity sees these 2 men who were thieves as dimensions or states of consciousness associated with time, the past and the present. And these are thieves. The past can rob us of being in the present. The future, our worries, doubts, and fears, can rob us of being in the present. See, the truth is the only power there is, the only life there is, the only place that paradise and joy and happiness can be found is in the now. Today, you will be with me in paradise. So we need to be living in the present moment, living in the now, because the past is history, as they say. The past is history. The future is a dream. Today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So I want to live in the now. I can have memories, or I can be grieving and longing for something that's been, or I can be worried and of the uncertainty of the future. But the practice is to breathe, take breaths, and say and repeat to yourself, I am here now. I am here now. Make it a mantra. I am here now. I am here now. And you can substitute I, and you can say, God is here now. God is here now. You can say, love is here now. Love is here now. Or peace, or joy, to bring us back into the present, because the present is the gift. And we want to live in the now. That's how we rise up, by staying in the now. Now we're going to, what are we going to? We're going to the next day. And the next day, I've got to find my note on that one, is Wednesday. And Wednesday is about oneness. I like it because there's a little, it sounds alike. The third day is about oneness. And the statement is, woman, behold your son, behold your mother. Now, what these words were spoken to was to Mary, Jesus's mother, and to John, who was a disciple. They were not related in blood. They were not blood relations. However, Jesus, why did he make this statement? He made it so that we could start to realize that we are all family. It's not by blood. It's the fact that we're breathing, and the thing that's breathing each and every one of us is the same spirit. So there's only one family, and it is the family of the divine. We need to release on that cross, and to release any idea of separation in racial, in how we see and label ourselves. I went to India, and what I loved about India is that they call everybody auntie and uncle. Everybody's auntie or everybody's uncle. So what if we changed our mindset and everyone was auntie or uncle or brother or sister? Because the truth is, we are brothers and sisters in this human thing called human race of family. It's not about changing and separation of races and denominations and all the things that we think are separating us, because there's only one, and we have to remember that there's only one. And how do we do that? Well, the practice is to divine in me sees and honors the divine in you. That's Namaste in India. So to remember and to say, when you're standing in line at the grocery store, when you see people, the divine in me, silently say to yourself, the divine in me sees and honors the divine in you. And recognize that we are one. Okay, ready for number 4, Thursday. This statement is a very interesting one, and it's halfway through this transformational process. Jesus states, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why have you forsaken me? Now, forsake means to leave completely, to desert or abandon. Have you ever felt so lost and abandoned and not connected to the divine? I know I've had my moments. Mother Teresa has been known to have been felt separated, not connected at all to the divine. It happens. And it even happened to Jesus, who was our great way shower. The one who's been preaching his oneness with every one of us. And here we see him stating that he's been forsaken. Now, why does he say this? Why is it important? What is the meaning behind this? Well, Jesus shows the relatability, number one. He was human. He also shows us that it's okay to speak the truth. He was feeling forsaken. He didn't hide it. And sometimes we hide what we feel. And that's not the way of freedom. We need to speak our small t truth, to speak what is present for us in the moment and not stuff it down. Jesus demonstrates it's okay to give voice to our feelings and to our pain, because then we can let it go. Once it's spoken, there's a freedom, and the truth can come in, and we can be lifted up into a higher level of who we are. So don't be afraid of speaking your fears. Sometimes in our teaching, we think what we say or feel can attract more of it. Well, that is not the truth. It's setting ourselves free. The truth will set you free. And when we give it voice, then something else can come through. But if we're holding it in, we can't. So we want to transform that fear into an expression and know it's okay. Okay, we're on number 5. We're going to Friday. No, we're on, that was Thursday. Yes. And the word for that day is truth, to speak your truth. So Thursday is about truth and speaking your truth. Now we're going to Friday. And the words were, I thirst. Jesus said, I thirst. To thirst is to desire that which gives you life. To thirst is the place, the midway place of change and transformation, where you can have discomfort, and that discomfort comes from a desire. There's a desire there. I thirst. I long for something. And what we're longing for in this state of the transformation, the word is vision. I thirst for something. What are you thirsty for? What are you thirsty and longing for? What is the greatest desire of your heart? The desire of our hearts. The word desire actually means of the Father, of the Spirit that is breathing us. Our desires aren't even our desires, so to speak. They're the desire that was planted in us. And so we need to recognize our vision. And once we've released our fears in this first and the statement prior and spoken our fears, then we can open up to the greater vision. What is it that you would love? Not what you would want. God is on the love channel. So what is it you would want? And so to open to that in the practice of I thirst, what are you thirsty for? Ask yourself, what would I love? And then start to claim it and see it and feel it as if it is. Because we need that vision to make the movement into that butterfly that wants to fly free. Okay, we're now on Saturday. The word for Saturday is completion. The phrase that Jesus stated was, it is finished. It is finished. So in order for me to move forward in our lives, there has to be 100% completion. Sometimes we're 95% complete or 98% complete, but sometimes we hang on to things, and I've spoke of this earlier. So is there anything that you're still hanging on to that you need to finish? Maybe it's a conversation. Reverend Mark Anthony Lord suggests that creating a ritual or a ceremony of completion is a very powerful spiritual practice as we close a chapter or door to anything in our lives. Being clear and intentional in releasing and letting go and calling something into completion can release us to our final step. So if there's something that you know that you haven't completed, write a goodbye letter to some aspect of yourself. Write a letter and burn it, tear it up. Find a way to honor the ritual. In Tahoe, when I was teaching there, we had a cross, and we actually put up on the cross anything we wanted to release as a part of our ritual of completing it, saying, I'm done with that. It does something internally when you use a ritual. And last but not least, next Sunday, the word is surrender. The words Jesus spoke were, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. and it's about surrendering. And it's not about the surrender like I give up, I lose, you win. The practice of surrender is the surrender of trust, full trust. As we let ourselves go, recognizing that we're just letting go to the spirit that is breathing us. We want to let go and knowing that we are held by spirit. And we need to have this willingness. And the word that we're going to be studying this word is will. Will. And we'll be doing that the next 3 Sundays. So the willingness to fully surrender. Again, letting go of the fear and having faith. And what is trust? I'll leave you with the acronym of trust. To rely upon spirit totally. Say that with me. To rely upon spirit totally. Why? Because the truth is, we are spirit in this thing called human form. We're spirit. That caterpillar became a butterfly because it rose up in its consciousness. So together, let us rise up. Let's let go of the fears, the doubts, the worries, and all that I spoke of. We have a blueprint by the great way shower. Cross off and crucify that which isn't needed and rise up to be the glorious butterfly being of beauty, love, and light that you truly are. And in closing, the divine in me honors and sees the divine in you. Namaste.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is everywhere. And every thought's indeed a prayer. May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in me. May God's presence illuminate my heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon us. May God's peace abide in us. May God's presence illuminate our hearts now and forevermore. Now
And it's now time for our prosperity blessing. I want to thank everyone for how you show up in this community. We know that between the sacred seva of your time and treasures, as well as green love that keeps us sustained and out and active in the community, that helps us be reminded that we really are a community. And so I want to thank you in advance for your dropping off your green love, you're using PayPal or mailing it in, whatever's easiest on you. And to remember that without all of that collectively together, we can't keep going. So the prosperity blessing will be up on the board also for you to see up on the screen. I personally like to hold mine in my hand just to remind and put it to my heart to remind me of that love, of that energy. So together we'll say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
I close my eyes, I open my heart, I take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in, I feel the beat that's calling, calling, calling us to rise, rise, Spirit rise up, rise in me. I ready my soul, I clear my mind, I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns, lighted up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit rise up, rise in me, rise in me. I sing to you, you sing to me. Change up this noise and make sweet harmony. Come on and rise, oh rise, Spirit rise up, rise in me. Oh rise, yes, rise, Spirit rise up, rise in me, rise in me. Heart to heart, heart to heart, hand in hand, hand in hand, no turning back, onward to promised land. Do you feel the power of 1,000 suns, lighted up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, it's why we came. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, it's why we keep. Come on and rise, oh
Please join me, everyone, in our beautiful prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Aloha Unity of Fort Collins. I'm so happy I got to join you on this special day. I'm wishing you and your family the brightest, most beautiful Easter holiday. Feel my love through the music because I certainly felt your love. Aloha till next time, and let's sing it out with Stand Together. Something great has happened and love has taken hold and it won't let go of us now. Something here is calling us forward, upward motion with drops in one ocean roll on. Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all created. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Right now. Oh, oh. Every day's a chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion blazing and shine. Yes. Paint with every vision and dance in new directions. Explode to new heights in your mind. I will rise up with you today. Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all created. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Oh, right now. Ooh, one dream, one voice, one heart, one world. One dream, one voice, one heart, one world. One dream, one voice, one heart, oh, one world. One dream, one voice, one heart, one world. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all created. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all created. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together. Now, everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Ooh, thank you so much.
Stand together, and stand together we are. When I heard Faith sing that song, I could feel the entire congregation standing up. Did you stand up? I could feel it. I was standing together with you as we rise up together. The way of transformation is to do this as a community. We're not on an individual path, even though we have our individual paths. We need each other. And so I thank you for doing the work, taking these practices to heart. You can always re-listen to this service, take notes, and do the practices. And by the way, we do spiritual counseling, Reverend Divine and myself. If there's any place you feel stuck, you have some need to release and are having fears or any needs, please contact us. You can call the office and let Julie know, send an email. We would be happy to contact you and do work with you individually so that you can move beyond the tomb, beyond that which is the tomb that you don't belong in, and you can release. So may you have a blessed week, rise up, and enjoy this beautiful, glorious Easter day, knowing the truth, and let us be free. And so we are, and so it is.